Hello, my name is Dr. Kyla Holmes. I'm a clinical psychologist and founder of Birthing the Gift. Birthing the Gift is a nonprofit organization that promotes the social, emotional wellness of youth, young adults, and families while providing a safe and compassionate space to grow and develop their God-given gifts through educational retreats, resources, and community events. So this interview series is one of those resources. This interview series is called It's a Process. Because as people are cultivating, growing, and discovering their God-given gifts, it is definitely a process. So we have with us today Giovanni. Thank you for being here, Giovanni.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So Giovanni, you are an artist, correct? Yes. You are an artist. And you were telling me you do digital illustrations and abstract painting. But if you could just tell us, what is your art?
So like you said, I do digital illustration. So that includes like logos and actual pictures, and then I do abstract art, and then I also paint like traditional acrylic.
Okay. So if you could tell us, I tell people I am not, I feel like that level of being artistic is not my. So if you could tell people, everybody might not know what it is to do abstract painting.
Okay, so abstract painting would be pretty much anything that's not like something that you can recognize. So in my case, I do a lot of things where it'll be like a solid color background, and it'll just have like gold on it. Like, so it doesn't necessarily like look like something, like, even though you may be able to see something in it, it's not like I'm saying, oh, I'm going to paint a dog or I'm going to paint a house. It's just, it is what it is.
Okay. What inspired you to do abstract?
Honestly, I started doing abstract painting just because I liked, like, that you can see an abstract painting and like it and not really know why. Like, you feel abstract art. Like, I feel like it's easy to look at a painting of something and be like, oh yeah, I like that, because it's very literal. But I feel like with abstract art, it's more so about like the feeling.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the feeling.
The feeling, like, I feel like, with the abstract series that I actually started doing, I was praying over those pieces as well. So it was like more like a spiritual thing. So like it would be like certain prayers were for the painting. So like if it was like a peaceful painting or whatever, I would do like hours of prayer for peace, and then like when you put it in your home, then it creates peace in it.
Wow. So tell me about that in your process. So that's something, of course, that's what this is about, is really capturing the process. So tell me, if you could say a little bit more about that when you say you pray over the painting and how that fits in your process and how what made you start making that part.
Okay. So with those, that collection was called Prayer Changes Things, because like there's all these studies that talk about how when you speak to things or over things, like it literally changes like the molecular makeup of it. Mm-hmm. And so I like that. I'm into that, like in terms of anything. And honestly, I don't know. I think that one day I just woke up and was like, I want to do art that looks like this. And then like, I felt like because it was so abstract, I didn't just want to say, okay, I'm going to have a bunch of art that doesn't really look like anything, and I want you to spend your money on it. I want it to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm praying over these, and when you put it in your home, it'll mean something. You'll feel them. I wanted it to have value for everybody.
I wanted it to have value for everybody. Absolutely. So when did you notice, like in your life, that art was part of you and part of how? I mean, I guess how you were created. That's the question.
I would say 2015. Okay, so growing up, I was a creative kid, but I felt like growing up, like in the schools that I was in, pretty much everybody was creative, so it didn't really stand out to me. It was just like, that's part of being a kid. Like, everybody kind of draws a little bit, you know, like whatever. But 2015, I had gone, you know, like a while without doing art just because I was doing, you know, adult life, whatever. And I just randomly kept having days where I would feel like I really want to paint. And like the logical side of me was like, why? Like, you don't paint, like that just seems really weird, you know? And so it was like probably like 6 weeks of me feeling like I really want to paint, And so I was like, okay, we'll find something to paint on. And so I got an old duffel bag and some paint, because luckily my mom was really creative, so we had a lot of art supplies in the house already. And so I just started painting on the duffel bag, like, just to get it out. Like, and it wasn't even like me painting something that looked cool or anything. It was literally just being like, I want to paint so bad that I'm going to take paint and just put it on something that way I can, you know, get that out.
It was in you that strong.
Yes, like when you're thirsty, like how it just kind of feels like, I want some water. And then like, so you go drink, like it felt like that. It was like, I really want to paint.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have a sense of where that was coming from.
I had no idea.
It was just, but it was an inner kind of knowing
absolutely.
that I need to do this. I have to release this.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So even prior to that, because you mentioned digital illustration, so were you involved in that before? I guess I'm trying to see.
No, I wasn't. So it started with me painting basically like lines and polka dots and stuff on like random things that I just had in the house. And then randomly one day I woke up, like literally like the moment that I woke up, it was like I had like a process that I was like, okay, I think that if I try to paint like this, because I never tried to paint anything because I hadn't been doing art. So I didn't know what I was doing in the first place. And so it was like, I literally woke up and was like, okay, if you paint like this, I bet you can get it to look like something. And so then I tried to paint in the way that I figured like I would be able to create an actual picture. And like, it wasn't the best painting in the world, but I felt like for somebody who wasn't painting, I was like, okay, like, yeah, I know that if I practice now, I can get better. And so I kept going from there. And then I did just regular painting, probably for like, I'd say 3.5 to 4 years. And then I just started doing digital, last year. And that was only because I had seen so many other people that were doing digital art, and I just really, I'm drawn to it. Like, I like the way that it looks. Like, it's very appealing to me. And then, too, like, once I got into it, it's just easier. Like, because painting itself is very messy and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's a beautiful process and all that stuff. But, like, digital is just so much faster and cleaner.
So what's your preferred kind of art form?
Honestly, right now, I would have to say digital illustration. I think that I like the amount of freedom that I'm able to have. Like, I feel like I can really create anything. I like how fast I'm able to do it. I like the cleanup time is pretty much nothing. You know, setup time is pretty much nothing. So it's to me, it just feels like the easiest for the type of person that
Yeah, awesome. So you said something a little bit ago that I want to follow up on, because you said even when you first really got into painting, you hadn't been painting, but you realized when you did it for the first time, it's like you were like, okay, this is pretty good for somebody that hasn't been painting. So I guess I wonder about that. You know, when people are pursuing their gift or their calling or something that you're doing, when it starts out, it may not be the way they know it can ultimately be. So how did you go from, what was it like to kind of evolve and grow?
honestly, I love it. I feel like to me, that's kind of what makes really good artists is to be able to say like, okay, so I have this image in my head and I know that I may not be able to do it right now, but if you are constantly striving to get better, like I feel like that journey in itself is a really important part of being an artist. For me, I feel like I liked it because even though everything wasn't good, like on the journey, it was like I was proud of myself. It was like, okay, like that looks a little bit, better this day, and this is a little bit better. And then, especially like to have other people see it and be like, okay, yeah, I like it. Like even though in my head it may not have been what I wanted, the fact that other people were like, no, this is good, I like this. So I appreciate that part.
So it sounds like they supported you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The people that have been like buying my art and supporting my art, I feel like on the days where I feel like I don't know if I'm doing that well, like I feel like that's like it's okay, like you're doing okay.
Right. And I wanted to ask more about that process, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are artists or they're just in whatever their field is or industry who have days like that. They're just like they just don't know. They really don't know that's what they need to be doing. How do you get through those days?
Honestly, I'm a prayer person. And so on those days when I feel like it's not for me, like I'll step away from it and go live my life. And then, sometimes you come back and you're like, okay, like I feel like creating something now. And then like there's days I'm like, okay, God, like give me a time. You want me to keep doing art? Is this what you want? And then, something will happen, and I'm like, okay, I'll keep going.
So you step away. That's part of what you have to do sometimes, is step away.
Absolutely.
And then it sounds like conversations with the Lord.
Yes, amen. That's
okay.
it.
All right. And that helps.
Yes, for sure.
Have you had, and I know you talked about people who have encouraged you, but has there been any particular person or group of people that you really feel like really, really encouraged?
No, I feel like my family for sure is very, very, very supportive. And like my best friends are very, very supportive. Like they've been there through everything. Like even when I was starting out going through my painting on random things phase, like my friends would just bring me stuff to paint on. Like, so everybody around me, I'll say, has been really supportive. And then, honestly, I just feel like everybody, like, if I can be very, very honest, I don't feel like I've come across somebody that's been like, oh, you're doing art, you know, or oh, that's what you want to do. I feel like everybody's just been really, really nice and really supportive.
That's such a blessing.
It is. I'm grateful.
So is this essentially kind of what you do full time?
Yes.
When did you like? Has it been that way for a while? Or when did you start to do that?
Yeah, it's been that way for a while. Every once in a while, like if I get to a point where I have like painter's block or whatever, like I will like pick up a side job or something like that, like just to keep my life going. But that's absolutely what I do.
Okay. And do you foresee yourself like this is what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
This week.
This week. Wow. So, I guess another thing that I'm wondering is like, kind of what's next for you, like in your process.
Okay, so next I want to do a digital collection. So essentially that would be I'm going to create, well, I've already done one, so 13 pieces digitally and then create prints from those. That's something that I'm really, really focusing on right now. And then outside of that, I would just say finishing up some of the commission work that I have. So, yeah, I feel like that's a lot of work though, so I'm not really good at that.
Okay, so you're just kind of focusing on what to do right now. Yeah. So you were talking earlier about, you've been talking about your process with art, talking about your process and your conversations with God. But you know, in my work, when I work with children, teens, and families, those conversations come up, right? Like how they, if they are like religious people, how they use that in their coping. And then it's a lot of individuals that talk about music, art, and creativity, and coping. Do you do that? When I say coping, like handling and navigating emotional distress or heartache or sadness or just those down moments. Do you find art to be a kind of coping?
No. Personally, I don't. It's almost like my art kind of is attached to my emotions almost. So like if I'm sad, I don't necessarily want to create. Like it doesn't feel right. So like on good days, that's when I create. Like I mean, like unless I'm really like trying to get through a project that has been for somebody else. But yeah, it's not like if I'm doing something for myself, I don't do that on my bad days.
What do you mean do something for yourself?
Like so as an artist, I accept commission work. So that would be like requests from other people. And then there's things that I just create because I thought, I think that's a really cool concept. Let me do that. So yeah, I don't volunteer myself to create art and things like that.
That's true. So do you feel, as an artist, do you feel like it's important for you and maybe others to still have that time to be out for themselves as opposed to working?
Yes, absolutely. That's like one of the biggest lessons I've learned is yes, you have to take that time. I think because when you're creating for other people, it kind of like, I think it takes away from the fact that it's your gift coming through you, like if you're just constantly giving, like, well, I'll speak for myself, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like as an artist, there are just certain things that are like inside of me where it's like, okay, I really would like to see you create this. And so if you don't make that time, then it's kind of like, you almost like you're cheating yourself.
Because you're giving and pouring out and you're creating something that someone else is requesting.
Right.
But is it almost kind of fulfilling something within you?
Right. Yeah. And not to say that doing commissions takes away from you like all the time, but if it's like, because some things are just, boring, like let's say like you have to do like a bunch of like lettering work or, it's just stuff that you're not necessarily passionate about. Those things like, it passes the time, like you may not have a problem with it, but it's not like you're passionate about it.
So it seems like for you, like being able to feel connected to it, drawn to it. I've heard you saying those words, drawn to connected passion. Would you say that keeps you?
Yes, absolutely.
What advice would you give? There may be people who are just discovering and maybe in that space where you were in for that, you said 6 weeks or so, where you were feeling like, I have to get, it may be somebody in that time now or somehow in their process. What kind of advice or tips would you give them if they're kind of navigating that process and working?
I would say just like follow the journey because like you'll have all these different ideas. Like I literally was like, I want to paint. So then I just started painting on some things, you know, and then I didn't even know how to paint. And then one day I woke up and felt like, oh, I know how to paint. And so then I started doing that. And then, you know, people started asking me for paintings. And so I just followed that. So I was saying, just take the steps. Like, even if you don't necessarily see, like, where it's leading to, like, just trust yourself, like, each little step of the way and just experience it and grow with it.
Follow the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, follow the journey. Take the steps.
Yes.
I think that's great. And where can people find out more about you? If they want to purchase some of this wonderful artwork that you're talking about, how can they connect?
So I have a website. It's gmentality.com, but it's gmxmentality.com. I'm on Instagram at gmentality, and it's still gmxmentality. Twitter, but I don't care about that. So that's like
Okay, so that's what they find. If they wanted to purchase any of them, they can contact you through those platforms and go from there.
absolutely.
Excellent. I'm so grateful to have you on this.
Thank you.
The process.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.